it would, like Jimmy was saying, we like to push the envelope a little bit on things that we haven't done sometimes. Particularly, like, I like to really push it. I like to make him uncomfortable. But that's how we grow, right? And I think it kind of works in our favor sometimes. Like he was saying, we're kind of in a different spot than we were 4 years ago. So you guys can let us know how you like this one. We're going to be doing. So we left it open, and I'll tell you this. On the menu, we left the description pretty open when we gave it to Diane, because we were sitting down, and I'm like, all right, what have we not done with Swisschard? Noodles, Swisschard noodles. Did we end up putting that on? No, right? Yeah, Kai Swisschard gratitude garden mushrooms. We left it open. So
we're gonna be honest. We didn't know what we were gonna do. We just knew we were gonna do the flavors. We knew we were gonna figure out something cool. And I was actually. I love this. What came out of this? I was really blown away.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I was telling them what you were saying. It was.
Swisschard has like a lot of depth and flavor. Like it's one of those things. Like there's been times where I'll be cooking Swisschard and it'll smell like oysters, or obviously you get that vegetable component, but you just get like a really strong metallic. Like one way that we do cook Swisschard is we always try to use the stems. But we'll cook the stems. It releases a lot of liquid, and then we'll reduce that liquid down really, really, really far, because we always want to. In that case, we want to make sure we're keeping that flavor, all the nutrients, all the things that are going to be in that vegetable to begin with. We want to make sure that is making its way back into the dish somehow, rather than just say blanching a Swisschard leaf. You're losing everything. You're losing the flavor, all the nutrients that are in it. But when you get that really concentrated, almost like a Swisschard reduction, it's like such an intense, like more so than most other vegetables that I've worked with. So, but I loved how this is really unique. You will never see a dish like this anywhere, I promise, unless you would like to recreate it in your own kitchen, which Tommy was going to demonstrate how we made these noodles, and then the sauce for it, which it was kind of cool that the leaves ended up making a really beautiful sauce for the stems, which can be the noodles. And I think noodles are kind of trendy right now, like the whole zucchini noodles and all that. So, we actually brought a little tool. This is I'm not sure what it's called exactly, but it's basically like a small knife, it's a small tool that has like 5 or 6 sharp blades on it. Tommy will show you how you use that, but I know a lot of people do that for use like zucchini, and you can just cut scallions with it and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really excited about this dish that I'm gonna get on right now. So
this one should be pretty fast. We kept it kind of simple just to really highlight the chard itself. And this tool. So initially, this was going to be a completely by hand dish, but we kind of had some help. So you'll start with the leaves. Strip your leaves. I did finish pickling that fennel. I don't know if you guys saw. So you pour the hot liquid over, and the vegetable will be pretty tender through. And what's really cool is that if you take a hard vegetable and you pour that hot liquid over, it does cook to pretty much the perfect bite. Cucumbers you're going to want to be careful with. Like I wouldn't call it a hard vegetable. But like hard vegetables, once you hit that boiling liquid, they still end up with a nice little bit of crunch. Yeah, I wouldn't slice them too thin. I do, so we do a pickled red onion at the restaurant for our birria empanadas. And that one I actually prefer to do like a raw pickle, like a lime juice and salt, honestly. Yeah, certain things you want to cold pickle. So you're going to take I'm going to demo you the sauce as well. That's awesome. You know what, let's go with the bigger pot. All right, so we're starting with the leaves. We did include this recipe. All right, and you saw how I stripped that, pretty straightforward. Grab from the bottom. I use 3 fingers, slide up the top. This can stay whole for now. We'll break it down a little bit. So with big fluffy things, like this, or like, I don't know if you ever heard of a chiffonade, but really you want to kind of ball it up nice. Makes slicing big piles of fluffy stuff very easy. We'll take these guys, our stalks, our Swisschard stems. We are preheating right now. Oh, actually, we can start. Let's go. Olive oil. Here I'm going to have some sliced shallots and sliced garlic. Or I just crushed the garlic, actually. You'll always want to take, whenever you're sauteing some veggies, you want to add a little bit of salt. Salt is going to draw the moisture out. It's going to cook faster, and it's going to taste better. So we have our shallots, garlic, olive oil, a little bit of salt, just to start. Also, when you're cooking in general, I don't know if you guys ever heard about seasoning in layers? You season a little bit as you go. A little bit of each layer you're starting. And that'll just help a dish become more seasoned through. So we have our cream, wine, potatoes, a little bit of chili flake. So I'm not really going for color here. A little bit's fine. Basically, you'll have more of a clean flavor without the color. You can get a little roast on it if you'd like. There we go. That's what I was looking for. A little bit more roastiness. That'll give you a little bit of depth. But then you might just taste a little more like fried garlic, fried shallot, opposed to the depth of the Swisschard that Jimmy was just talking about, right? In this dish, we did sous vide these with a little bit of garlic, thyme, and salt. So that builds quite a bit of flavor there as well. The sauce, the leaves, we're making the leaf sauce right now. I'm going to add my wine now. No, let's add our leaves first. Saute these down a little bit. I'm going to wilt them down. Let's add our potatoes. So I did slice the potatoes thin, so they'll cook a lot faster. Oh. I just spilled some of my wine. I was going to say save some to drink, but my portion is gone. The wine, you want to cook it out just a little bit. We can add our cream. We're going to make sure those potatoes are submerged. So we're going to bring this to a boil. When it starts boiling, we're going to lower it to a simmer. This will also get those leaves nice and tender. It ends up, the Swisschard leaf itself actually has like a nice, like sauteed, they're really cool. They have a really nice mouthfeel, like a little more so than like other leaves. We're also, for this exact dish, we're doing this sauce, we're aerating today, which you don't necessarily have to. We just thought it would be a pretty cool touch for you guys, make it a little extra special. We are then garnishing it with some sourdough breadcrumbs. We're actually, the sourdough's from Aioli Bakery. Anybody heard of Aioli Bakery? I'm sure. No? No? Really? Oh, wow. Aioli is Palm Beach, like Lake Forest Hill, around Forest Hill area. So yeah, pretty close to us. I'd say it's one of the better bakeries in Palm Beach County. So Farmer John was just telling me about that. We are having to switch our bread program right now. We did make all of our bread in-house certain periods. During season, it got kind of crazy. We started outsourcing the burger buns to Aioli, like I was saying, and the sourdough as well. The sourdough is like killer. I love sourdough, and it's something that kind of really has to be done right. Sourdough is like an art. I think it is. It takes like practice, and it takes time and a lot of care. I'm going to lower this down. We don't want to boil this too hard to scorch the cream, okay? But yeah, so this is the last of our aioli sourdough. No more. We started getting it for a BLT. We do this pork jowl BLT. And I basically just wanted to make it how I make it at home. So, we do pork jowls in the restaurant. We use, like I was saying, for the fried rice. We'll use it for the fried rice. We treat it more like pork belly. We'll slice it thick, give it a sear, and we use that fat in the pan to make the rice crispy. That Carolina gold rice we were talking about. We do let that air dry as well in the fridge for about a day and a half, so it gets some nice real crispiness to it. But yeah, for the BLT, we're taking that aioli sourdough, which was like a big part of it in my head. Had to be the right sourdough. Super crispy pork jowl. We kind of cook it through in the oven, completely render it out. And we do, again, smoked onions. So that's another thing, like I was saying, the smoked onions. We started that just for the tartare. And from there, it's something that, for that particular dish, we're taking nice petals. We cut them to a particular size. You can't necessarily use the onion cores. So we do have like trim. And like Jimmy was saying, we don't really like to throw things out. Especially a smoked onion. It's pretty cool. You can probably do a lot with it, right? So you guys had it in that dip, and we do a smoked onion aioli to go on the BLT with the aioli sourdough. All right, well, you guys are going to start getting this dish. I hope you all enjoy. We can test our potatoes here. Feel free to ask questions, please. Give me plenty to talk about. Sir?
The potatoes you're talking about, I didn't see the recipe.
It is not?
My fault.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's my fault. The potatoes, so the reason why the potatoes are in there was to give it a little bit more body, which was especially going to be helping with this. It just helps it kind of hold the air a little bit longer. It was basically just like starch, essentially. That's what we were utilizing it for. That was really the only purpose, and that was something we didn't realize we needed until after I wrote the recipe. So I'm sorry. The recipe's still a work in progress. That recipe was for you guys, as it was still a work in progress for us. So sorry. I thought this sauce was like when we Tommy was telling me about his idea for this sauce, and then when I tried it, I couldn't believe it was what we were talking about. I just thought it was. I was really impressed. I think this is something we'll definitely be seeing more of this somehow. This flavor. I love the idea, because to me it actually tastes completely different than what a cooked piece of Swiss chard would.
Just go get another one.
I guess you can thank butter and cheese for that. That always helps. And of course, another thing. I know this is a unique dish. This might not be for everyone. But one thing that I did, anytime we have the opportunity of, showcasing something that is often not really used to its full potential, such as vegetable stems, that's something that I always get really excited about. It's just I think this is like the type of dish you have to manage expectations, because it's not a bowl of pasta, right? It is exactly what it is. It's Swiss chard stems with a Swiss chard sauce. So, keep that in mind. But again, I hope that even if it's with the base recipe that we gave you, you can add the potato, and and hopefully that could be something that can inspire you to do something really cool with some fresh local produce at home. And I just wanted to, I don't know if we spoke on the mushrooms at all too. The mushrooms are from a farm called Gratitude Garden. So they, another farm that we work very, very closely with. I'd say, I think between Kai Kai and Gratitude Garden are probably the two farms that we buy the most weekly product from. So these are a mix of mushrooms. They call it their chef mix, but there's lion's mane mushrooms, there's different varieties of oyster mushrooms, some chestnut mushrooms, some piopini mushrooms. What am I missing?
Say shiitake?
And some shiitake.
You said variety of oyster.
Yep. So that's one of those. They Gratitude Garden. They started. They're an amazing farm. They're just one of those just really amazing people, just like here at Kai Kai. And they're a farm that we started working with. We started working with them as soon as we found out, and as soon as we tried their product. And it's they harvest the mushrooms and we receive them the next day. And it's just in most restaurants, it's very rare to be able to have that close of a connection. We've been to that farm numerous times. We understand the process that goes through. We know about something called mushroom lungs. You don't want to be going in, spending too much time where the mushrooms are growing. So yeah, they're definitely a really, really amazing farm, and we go through.
So the charred noodles, like I was telling you guys, we season them, we sous vide them. You don't necessarily have to do that. I don't use a sous vide at home, to be honest. I prefer to cook like old school. You can definitely kind of almost steam the noodles. Like I said, salt's going to draw out the moisture. It's going to help tenderize. You can pretty much do it in a pan with a lid. She was asking specifically about the mushrooms. The mushrooms, those are just pan roasted. Salt and olive oil. Vegetable oil, hot vegetable oil to start. Basically, so when you're going to saute some mushrooms, don't overcrowd your pan if you want to get that caramelization. Mushrooms are going to be mushrooms retain a lot of water. So you want to start in a saute pan, or at least just a large bottom pot. Really hot oil. One layer of mushrooms, don't stack them up. Season at the beginning. Don't necessarily move them either. Let them start catching that color. And yeah, that's the mushrooms, very simply. Again, building depth just within the technique in this scenario of just properly pan roasting something. You know what I mean? And the noodles, like I was saying, you don't even necessarily need to get color on those. Like, you don't do that sous vide. Sous vide is submerged in a water bath. So you just kind of steam them. If you guys saw what I'm doing here, I don't know if you guys see me poking things with this blue thing. I'll explain that. So this is a cake tester. You don't need a cake tester. I use like a big Japanese morobashi, a pointy plating chopstick at home to test things out, whatever, anything pointy. You can use it for fish to check the doneness. If you catch resistance, that's going to be the intermuscular tissue that was not broken down. So it's not going to slide in and out. In this scenario, it's going to be potatoes. Same thing. The potato, it's going through the potato is not coming up with it. So we're cooked there. Pointy objects, pretty useful in the kitchen, I guess you could say. Doesn't need to be a cake test. Oh, he needs it. You can use it to check temperatures of things. The metal is going to retain the heat, the temperature. You can feel it on your wrist or your lip. Oops. And yeah, pointy objects, get one. So I'm going to finish this sauce, and then we're going to go into the next recipe, all right? So we have a blender, our vegetables cooked down. If you guys wanted the potato, not in the recipe, for this amount, I used about like a half a potato, all right? Yes. Chicken stock? It was with the cream. Yeah. Sorry, I kind of combined it. before I got here. And I mean, there's not much technicality to this part of the procedure. Turn it on. So, well, I mean, I guess there is one little detail. I don't know if you guys ever used a high power blender, but you want to start low and you want to slowly bring it up. If you just immediately go high, it's going to make a mess. That's pretty much it. I'm going to put it back in the pot.